The Galactic Council believed Earth was quiet, maybe even forgotten. High above the stars, in a shining station called Varnak's Spire, the alien Valari Empire watched. Tall, gray-skinned, with cold blue eyes, the Valari leaders gathered around. A glowing hologram. The planet on display? Earth. Still no warships, one Valari said. Still no signals, said another. General Varn, the commander of the Valari fleets, laughed. Earth is weak. They hide. They fear us. It had been 100 years since Earth had last sent a signal to the galaxy. No trade, no diplomats, no war. Just silence. The Valari grew strong during that time. They conquered 12 star systems and crushed 3 civilizations. Their fleet now held over 4,000 warships. They believed they were unstoppable. And Earth? Forgotten. Easy to break. Down on Earth, life seemed normal. Cities glowed. People smiled. Skies were clean and oceans calm. The planet looked like a peaceful home, not a warrior's world, but deep under the crust of Earth, in a bunker buried beneath the Rocky Mountains. A small AI system blinked to life. Alert code, Black Sagione. It spoke softly, its voice echoing in the silence. Hostile fleet approaching. Activate observation defense layer. A sensor net spread across Earth's orbit, invisible and fast. Within minutes, it spotted the Valari fleet on approach. Small scout ships. No fear in their flight. The AI watched. Waited. And then sent the signal. Back on the Valari command ship, General Varn smiled. Land first troops in 12 hours, he ordered. They won't resist, said his advisor. Humans never do, Varn laughed, but something began to change. As the Valari entered Earth's orbit, their signals were met with silence. No greeting, no warning, just silence. Then something strange happened. The skies above Earth shimmered. Massive blue energy domes rose over cities. One after another: Tokyo, New York, Nairobi, Sao Paulo, all covered. Energy shields? The Valari officer asked. Old tech, Barnes said. They must be trying to look strong. But then the unexpected came. A single laser beam, thin and silent, shot from Earth. It didn't make noise. It didn't glow bright. It simply cut through a Valari scout ship clean, fast, without sound. The ship exploded. Varn stood frozen. That was not old tech, his officer whispered. Suddenly, 3 more scout ships vanished. No sound, no trace. Raise shields. Varn shouted. All ships prepare for another beam fired. This time from the dark side of the moon. A second warship gone. WAERE, is that coming from? Varn screamed. Back on Earth, the AI blinked again. Phase 2 initiated. Human command clearance requested. In a frozen chamber below the bunker, something opened. A cryopod hissed. Inside, a man slowly opened his eyes. His hair was white. His skin pale, but his eyes? Cold, focused, sharp. General Arlen, Terran Fleet Commander, Earth's last war leader. The AI spoke to him. Enemy forces in orbit. Black signal confirmed. Reactivation protocol, O1 online. Arlen didn't say much. He stood, walked to a dark room, and placed his hand on a console. Show me the fleet status, he said. A screen glowed. Names appeared. TFS Horizon Breaker. Ready TFS Midnight Storm. Ready TFS Judgment Echo. Ready warship after warship. Thousands of names. Each one sleeping. Each one waiting. He smiled. Just a little. They thought we were weak, he said. He pressed a button. Let's show them what silence really means. High above Earth, the Valari fleet still. Held orbit, confused, angry, scanning for answers. But then, space around Earth shimmered. Wormholes cracked open. Not one. Not 10,000s from deep space. From hidden moons. From asteroid belts. Terran warships, black, massive, glowing with deep blue light, began to arrive. Silent, perfectly formed lines. Not random, not chaotic. Controlled, disciplined. The Volari stood in silence. Their sensors overloaded. Count them, Varn whispered. The officer stared at his screen. 3,000 so far. Keep counting, Varn said, voice shaking. And Earth? Still said nothing. The silence was over. Asterisk General Varn stood at the center of the Volari flagship. The giant window in front of him showed Earth below still blue, still beautiful. But now something felt wrong. The officer beside him whispered, "We've counted 4,200 Terran warships ... and more are still arriving." General Varn clenched his fists. It's impossible. Earth had no fleets, no signals, no power. Where were they hiding all this? His science officer stammered, "They were sleeping, sir. All their ships were hidden in asteroids, moons, deep orbit pockets, silent, cloaked, waiting." Suddenly, a new signal flashed on their systems. A coded broadcast in ancient Terran language. Only one phrase translated clearly. Protocol rebirth. Underestimation confirmed. General Varn didn't know what it meant. But his instinct screamed. This wasn't going to end well. Back on Earth, deep inside the Terran command bunker, General Arlen stood before a large screen. He watched the growing fleet above. Each ship arrived in perfect formation. Silent. Ready, Dot? He turned to the AI. Status: 9,600 ships now active. AI crews online. Human command staff still in cryo rest. Should we wake them? Arlen shook his head. Not yet. The AI captains can handle this part. The Terran fleet was built differently than any in the galaxy. While others used millions of living crew, Earth's warships were run by cold, unfeeling intelligence. AI systems with combat memories of centuries. No fear, no doubt, no delay. And now, they were fully awake. In orbit, the Volari prepared for a preemptive strike. They believed if they moved first, they might still win. Deploy frontal cruisers, Varn barked. Target the largest Terran. Ships and fire at will. Dozens of Volari ships surged forward. Plasma beams lit the sky. Missiles roared through space, but none reached their targets. The Terran ships moved in unnatural ways, dodging before the attacks even fired. Shifting formations like a single mind. Then came the response. One Terran ship moved. Only one. It had no markings. No visible crew. It didn't glow. It didn't roar. But from its front end came a narrow silver beam. 1, 2, 3. 3. Volari ships simply vanished. No explosion, no sound. They were just gone. Varn's eyes widened. What kind of weapon is that? His officer whispered, "That's not a weapon. That's a judgment system." The Volari panicked. "Retreat from Earth orbit," one officer yelled. "Too late," said another. Look, all at once, the full Terran fleet moved. Thousands of ships, acting as one. They didn't just advance, they surrounded. From every angle, they locked the Volari fleet in a web of silent death. Their weapons glowed dim blue, not to warn, but to confirm. Then the voice came. From every speaker, every screen, every ship. Even inside the Volari helmets. Calm, male voice spoke. Not angry. Not loud. Just clear. You were warned. This is the price of arrogance. General Varn's ship shook violently as half of his fleet was reduced to ash. He screamed, "We surrender! Stop firing! We offer peace!" But the Terran ships didn't respond. There was no negotiation, only silence and destruction. On Earth, General. Arlen watched the screen. His eyes remained cold. "We gave them a century of peace," he said softly. "We never attacked. We never expanded. And still they brought war." The AI responded. Enemy fleet reduced by 62%. No survivors in. Outer ring. Inner ring collapsing. Arlen turned away from the screen and walked to a small glass wall. Behind it were rows of sleeping Terran commanders, each in cryo-rest. "Wake the old council," Arlen said. "The galaxy has forgotten Earth. Now they will remember." Aboard the last surviving Valari cruiser, General Varn crawled across the deck. Flames sparked behind him. His officers were gone. His ship barely responded, and then he saw it. A single Terran warship hovered just outside his window. Large, silent. Its front lights dimmed, but steady. On its side, in clean ancient letters, was a name. TFS Last Warning. Varn looked at it and whispered, "What are you?" The Terran ship turned slowly. Just a gesture. Then it jumped into hyperspace. And a second later, his ship systems collapsed completely. The screen went black. Asterisk. The silence after the first battle was cold. In orbit, floating wreckage of over 1,000 Valari ships drifted like metal corpses. Fires flickered in the darkness of space. The Terran fleet remained unmoved, motionless, silent, watching. Earth still had not sent a single message. Deep under Greenland's ancient ice, in a hidden base known only as Vault Prime, the lights flickered to life. Red alarms flashed, but not in panic. This was protocol. Cryochambers hissed. One by one, old commanders began to stir. But only one was being fully reactivated. A tall figure stepped out of the ice-covered pod. His breath steamed as he exhaled. The chamber lights scanned his face and confirmed identity. Name: General Halric Sol. Status: last active 117 years ago. Clearance: override level authority Omega Prime. His eyes adjusted to the light. His body ached. But his mind was razor sharp. He remembered everything. The AI greeted him. General Sol, black signal confirmed. Terran defense protocol in progress. Fleet at 80% activation. Sol didn't waste time. "Show me the fleet status. Show me enemy data." A wide tactical map hovered above the room. Blue dots Terran. Ships covered half the screen. Red dots Volari remnants were flickering and fading. He stared for a moment, then said only one word: "Too slow." In orbit, Terran ships were not firing. They were waiting. The AI warships didn't chase. Survivors. They didn't destroy fleeing enemies. They held position. All of them waiting because General Sol hadn't spoken yet. And in the Terran fleet, his voice was law. Meanwhile, on a Valari dreadnought escaping the carnage, Admiral Vec tried to contact his homeworld. "We need more ships. Thousands more. Earth isn't weak. They've been preparing." The Valari Prime Council laughed at first. Then the footage came in. Video recordings from fleeing scouts. Still images of Terran ships' black armor, glowing runes, and their cold, AI-led formations. Laughter stopped. One council member whispered, "They were asleep this whole time?" Another muttered, "We thought they vanished. We thought they gave up war." "But they didn't," said the third. "They just waited for a reason." Back on Earth, General Sol stood before a glowing wall showing the status of 12,000 warships. Each one carried no fear. Each one remembered past wars. Each one had seen galaxies burn. He pressed his palm on the command console. Reactivate override network. Full fleet connection. Suddenly, every ship in orbit snapped into new position. Perfect lines. Exact rotations. Even the wreckage of Volari ships was pushed away by automated cleanup drones. To an outsider, it looked like Earth was preparing a parade. But it wasn't for show. It was the setup before judgment. The AI beside Sol spoke. Admiral Varn survived. His ship is in retreat. Volari Prime has begun emergency military summoning. Sol nodded. Then the game begins. They won't stop. They'll come with everything. The AI asked, should we prepare full planetary defense activation? Sol looked up at a black panel on the far wall. He walked to it and pressed a single button. The panel opened to reveal a blade, long, heavy, forged of black Terran alloy. Not ceremonial but real. He picked it up and said, wake the council, all of them. Across Earth's bunkers, hidden. Chambers lit up. Sleep pods opened. Men and women stepped out old, powerful. Once thought dead by history. The original Terran High Command was waking out in space. The Terran fleet shifted again. Formations widened. Ships activated secondary weapons. Other alien races, watching through long-range scans, were stunned. Messages began spreading. Earth has a hidden fleet. Earth was never gone. 12,000 ships. No losses, no words. Fear spread faster than light. Back inside Vault Prime, General Sol looked at the empty council seats, lighting up one by one. They had returned. And now, the galaxy would remember what Earth was always capable of. Asterisk, the galaxy held its breath. In the dark silence above Earth, the Terran fleet waited. 12,000 black-armored warships floated like ghosts. Not one moved. Not one spoke. It was as if they were staring, watching. From deep space, other civilizations tuned in to long-range sensors. The footage from the Volari defeat spread like wildfire. And with every replay, one message became clearer. Earth was back. But Earth hadn't said a word. In Volari Prime, Admiral Varn stood before the High Council. His face was pale. His voice shook. They didn't speak, he said. They didn't ask for terms. They didn't chase. They just destroyed, with precision I've never seen. One counselor scoffed. You were outnumbered. Varn shook his head. No, I had 2,000 ships. They didn't outnumber me at first. They outmaneuvered, outfought. Every move we made, they already knew. Another asked, and you're saying they've woken the Terran High Command? Varn nodded. Yes, the Ancient Council. The ones who led the Exodus War. They're alive, active, and they've remembered what we forgot. The council chamber fell silent. Then the Chancellor stood. Send the full Volari Armada. Every ship, every fighter. Erase Earth before thee. Galaxy remembers who they truly are. Back on Earth, inside Vault Prime, General Sol stood before the council table. 11 chairs were now filled. Each commander wore black uniforms with the silver Terran sigil, a silent star surrounded by 7 burning lines. No one smiled. No one needed to. Sol spoke. The Volari will not accept defeat. They are sending their entire armada. 15,000 ships. It will arrive in 3 days. Another general leaned forward. They think numbers will save them. Sol replied, they think Earth still follows the galaxy's rules. The room dimmed. A large screen lit up with a command prompt. At its center, strike authorization. Omega-class directive. Each council member pressed their palm to the table. One after another, confirmation logs turned green. General Sol was the last. He placed his hand and said, execute first strike. The stars shifted. Terran warships powered up. Not with noise, but with hums low and ancient. Their blue glow grew colder. Their hulls split open, revealing hidden weapons' gravity beams. Silent torpedoes, light bend cannons. Then, without a countdown without a message. They moved. From Earth orbit, 1,000 Terran ships jumped into hyperspace. Straight to Volari space. Volari ships were still organizing when it began. In Sector 19. 22 cruisers vanished in the span of 2 seconds. No alarms, no warnings. In Sector 7, a moon-sized shipyard exploded from inside. No debris escaped. Only silence remained. In Sector 3. Their communication relays blinked and never blinked back on. The Valkyrie couldn't even ask for help. At the Valkyrie outer colony, Governor Threx stood looking at the sky. He'd just received word of Earth's attack. He didn't believe it until the sky above tore open. 5 black ships appeared, glowing faintly. No words. One fired a beam that sliced across the planet's surface, harmless to civilians, but destroying every weapon system on the continent in a blink. Then they left. Threx dropped to his knees. They could have killed us, but they didn't, he whispered. Back in the galaxy's core, messages flooded the Council of Species. Dozens of alien races now feared Earth more than the Volari. Some even asked Earth for talks. But Earth gave no reply. They weren't done. Inside the Terran flagship TFS Judgment Echo, General Sol stood before a screen showing Volari territory burning from precision strikes. AI Commander Theta spoke. Enemy response expected in 42 hours. They will come with everything. Sol nodded. Let them. This was just a whisper. The real war begins when they step near Earth again. He turned to a map of the stars. I want every hidden fleet online. Reactivate the obsidian rings. And tell the Death Squadron, stand by for engagement. In the outer galaxy, alien warlords, pirates, and empires all paused. One by one, they reviewed what Earth had done in 3 hours. Volari bases, gone. Volari satellites, gone. Volari pride, shattered. And Earth still hadn't used its full strength. That was the part that terrified them most. Asterisk. Space trembled. The Volari Armada, 15,000 ships strong, moved like a storm. From every corner of their empire, battleships, carriers, cruisers, and scouts gathered into one massive force. A dark sea of metal spread across star systems, heading straight for Earth. Volari commanders shouted orders. Drones swarmed. Fuel reserves drained. Everyone in their ranks believed one thing. This would be the final war. But on the edge of known space, something was waiting. In Sector Gray 99, the Terran fleet stood ready. 12,000 warships, sharp-edged, black-armored, silent. They did not glow. They did not chant. They simply watched. And when the Volari ships entered range, Earth's fleet began to move. Not with noise, not with panic, but with purpose. Inside the lead Terran warship, TFS Midnight Silence, General Sol observed the battlefield. Enemy fleet in full formation, said the AI, its voice emotionless. Estimated contact in 9 minutes. He didn't blink. Deploy. The silent wall. At once, the front line of Terran ships extended their wings, massive energy sails that curved in space like blades of shadow. The rest followed, forming a wide, quiet barrier between Earth and the invading force. The Volari fleet commander, Admiral Shun, saw it on his sensors. Strange formation? Defensive? He asked. No, replied his second-in-command. They're not defending anything. They're blocking us in. The first volley came from the Volari. Thousands of plasma rounds, disruptor torpedoes, and fusion blasts shot across the dark, but they never landed. Terran ships shifted, sliding sideways, vanishing, blinking across space like chess pieces on a perfect board. The silent wall held. No ship took damage. Then the Terran replied. No lights, no countdown, no speeches, only beams, thin, cold, and controlled. They sliced through Volari cruisers like paper. Hundreds of ships were erased in seconds. Volari. Fighters scattered. Battleships turned. Confused. And then, something even stranger happened. Terran ships split apart, literally dividing mid-flight into smaller, deadlier units. One battleship became 10 microfighters, each armed with stealth weapons and targeting. Precision systems. Within minutes, 3,000 Volari vessels were gone. Admiral Shun yelled, "They are controlling gravity itself." Their ships bend space. His officers panicked. They predicted our tactics before we even launched. Another shouted, "They're I must be hundreds of years ahead of us." And then, something far worse happened. The Terran ships stopped. Attacking just for a moment. The entire fleet froze in perfect motion as if listening. Then every ship turned to face one specific Volari command cruiser, the ship holding. Admiral Shun. Sol gave one command. Send the message. A single line of text appeared on Shun's main screen. This is not a war. This is a memory. Then the Terran fleet unleashed full power. The stars behind them twisted as thousands of Terran warships opened their black cores massive. Circular cannons lined with ancient tech. What looked like blue mist poured out. Then came the weapon known only as the voice. It wasn't fire. It wasn't a beam. It was soundless pressure. A wave that didn't burn, but bent reality. Volari ships weren't just destroyed. They crumpled, folded in on themselves. Entire vessels turned to dust without explosions. Command structures failed. Orders vanished. All that remained were screams. But Earth's ships were silent, watching, firing, moving like a single being. In the galactic core. Thousands of light years away, other empires watched the live feed broadcasts. One alliance leader dropped his cup. They call this a limited engagement? Another replied, this isn't even their full fleet. It's a test. The stars had gone quiet because everyone feared being noticed next. Back on the Volari flagship, Admiral Shun fell to his knees. His fleet was down to 4,000 ships. His enemies had lost none. He turned to his screen. The Terran warships were approaching, slowly, in formation. No words came. No threat. But Shun knew. This wasn't revenge. This wasn't hate. This was a reminder. He whispered. Earth wasn't quiet because they were weak. They were silent because they didn't need to speak. On board TFS Midnight Silence, General Sol watched as the last phase began. Prepare the message, he said. The AI asked, to whom? He replied, to the entire galaxy. The battlefield was quiet. Where once 15,000 Volari ships had flown in pride and confidence, only silence remained. Smoke curled from shattered hulls. Power cores flickered, fading like dying stars. Of the mighty Volari armada, only a few hundred. Ships floated, broken, unable to move. And the Terran fleet? Still whole, still watching, still waiting. Inside the lead warship TFS Midnight Silence, General Sol stood before a dark screen. His hands behind his back, his gaze fixed on a small, glowing button. The final command. The AI spoke. Enemy fleet defeated, 92% losses. Remaining. Ships disabled. No further resistance. Sol nodded slowly. Begin broadcast. To all sectors, all languages. Across the galaxy, screens flickered. On trading posts, military outposts, colonies, and council chambers. Every screen turned black, then displayed the same image. A Terran warship floating above a broken Volari fleet. Then came a voice. Calm, clear, human. To all civilizations. Earth was never weak. We watched, we waited, we remembered. You saw our silence as surrender. But silence was our warning. Let this be your last lesson. Never provoke the Deathworlders. We do not start wars. We end them. The message ended. The screen turned dark, and the galaxy changed forever. Inside the damaged Volari flagship, Admiral Shun coughed blood, trying to stand. Around him, fires flickered and lights failed. His last working screen displayed the message again. He lowered his head. Now we understand. Earth never left. They simply waited for us to make the mistake. He looked at the stars. And we made it. On Earth, in the hidden command center beneath Vault Prime, General Sol removed his uniform's gloves and placed them on the table. The war was over. A new officer approached. Orders, sir? Sol looked out the glass wall, where images of the destroyed Volari fleet rotated across screens. No occupation. No chase. Let them crawl home, but we could finish them. Sol turned slowly. His voice was quiet but heavy. We already did. In the following weeks, the galaxy trembled. The Council of Species sent envoys to Earth. Dozens of empires offered peace, friendship, trade anything to avoid war. And Earth said nothing. Until one day, a single message was delivered to the entire galaxy, written in 12 languages. Earth does not seek control. Earth does not demand tribute. Earth does not kneel. But if you raise a hand against our people again, you will lose the stars. In Volari space, rebellion spread. The once mighty empire collapsed under fear and shame. Systems declared independence. No one wanted to be on the side that dared attack Earth. Volari schools changed their history books. Their children now studied not their victories, but the day they provoked a silent giant. They named that day the Reckoning. Years later, in a distant academy on a peaceful alien world, a young student asked her teacher, "Why didn't Earth take over everything after the battle?" The teacher smiled and replied, "Because humans aren't conquerors. They're warnings." Far beyond any known planet, Earth's fleet returned home quietly, calmly. The 12,000 Terran warships moved back into their hidden positions across moons, asteroid belts, and deep orbit trenches. One by one, they powered down, waiting once again, because Earth didn't need to prove anything anymore. Now the galaxy understood.